Not in attendance is the newest member of the Housing and Human Welfare Committee, Alderman Mark Rodriguez. He does send his regrets, not able to attend at this time. We look forward to welcoming him at the future or further meeting of the Housing and Human Welfare Committee. First item on the agenda, business before the committee, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion that we approve the September minutes.
In the absence of anyone else to second, I will second that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. Second item on the agenda is the update by Planning and Zoning, ID number 29218. Did have the opportunity to correspond with Mr. Gutwald by email. He did submit the current project spreadsheet for us to take a look at. Did excuse him from attending in person. He was prepared and able to do so if required or needed to by the committee. He has indicated those changes from the last time we were able to view this in red. We did have the opportunity to take a look at it. We have a particular interest on the committee on all projects that are providing the moderately priced dwelling units on all residential real estate that's being developed in the city of Annapolis. Have a particular interest as well as we have viewed the adequate public facilities ordinance, which under Alderwoman Tierney's wisdom, we have set it for a work session looking at Tyler Heights, which is a school that's being redeveloped there to kind of give some relief to the crowding that they're experiencing. I see that that is moving its way through the permitting process to be redeveloped there. Once it's redeveloped, it should double its capacity there at Tyler Heights, so it's good to see that that is making its way through. It does have its changes indicated in red that Tyler Heights is continuing to progress through the process. Alderwoman Tierney, is there anything significant that stood out to you or that you wanted or needed to note for the record on the current projects?
No, other than, well, yes, the fact that we do need to work on these MPDUs. I mean, you know, if you do look through that column, we, you know, most of them are not applicable. The majority are not applicable. And again, that ties into adequate facilities. If you know, what we're making it difficult perhaps, but we don't know. So we do need to talk about that if that's our goal, to have more what I call affordable workforce housing.
I agree that there are far too many where it's not applicable and the fee in lieu being paid. When you look at it, the majority are either not applicable or the fee in lieu is being paid. So the calculation where they can benefit from the density increase being the benchmark for the MPDU kicking in, it looks like it's definitely something that's going to need further review. We did speak with Mr. Gutwald the last time he was here about partnering with him to better understand how we can beef up that piece of the city ordinance to make sure that we're getting its highest and best use, to make sure we are using it to bring affordable housing to the city of Annapolis, because it's one of our real only ways as a city to make sure we're bringing that here. Anything else for the record of note on the development update?
No.
Okay.
No.
We will move forward to legislation before the committee. We have O-33-18, commercial recycling, for the purpose of establishing guidelines for commercial recycling and clarifying the enforcement procedures for repeat violations of Chapter 10-16. Looks like the legislation was introduced by Alderwoman Tierney. So we have the benefit of having the sponsor here with us. Alderwoman Tierney, would you enlighten me on a little bit of the background on it?
This originated by complaints of recycling bins being left out after you know, the morning pickup, sometimes being left out all day. And as well as you know, there's regular trash city pickup and there's recycling. It's the same. We outsource it both to one company, and they go around and they pick it up. And the resident is responsible to, in the trash code, to put it out no later than like 5 o'clock, I should know that by heart, but something like no later than 5 o'clock the night before, and then to take it back in after pickup, and that just hasn't been happening, and so calling the planning and zoning, John Messina is the enforcement officer. He said, I will tell you why it isn't happening, because the recycling code doesn't match the trash code. And I said, well, in what way? And he said, well, we don't, the language doesn't match. We need to fix the language. And I said, okay. And he said, and then we have to, and matching the language also implies that they have the same infraction if you know, he can't cite these violators because it wasn't in the code. So he introduced this legislation, and then it repeats language from the previous paragraph on the trash pickup, and then for repeat offenders, which is usually the case in these situations, it's always the same, you know, that does that. So, so the staff report, I'm reading that now, basically reiterates that what I said about the introducing language on the repeat violations, for repeat violations of 10.16, yeah. Yeah, this is basically mirroring the trash code, and I was reading now the fiscal impact. I don't think they ever, you know, it's very rare, I think, that they go to that maximum code, but I think I need to look at, I don't have the whole code in front of me, but you can see what's there for trash versus what this changes. Here it is, okay. Reduced by I think it, yeah, it adds paragraph D and E, and then G about the repeat violation. So I basically, it was written by planning and zoning. I didn't amend it or touch it. It was just what they needed to do to recycle, to enforce the same code that they do for a regular trash pickup. So the question could be asked, why are we looking at it from housing and community law? I think it's probably, you know, I guess a quality of life issue. I don't know, but so do you have any questions? It's hard. I wish I could see the previous section that has the trash code, so you can see what it copies, for lack of, oh wait, it's probably over there. Is the books there? Yeah.
So this is just our commercial recycling? This is not residential?
This is just for commercial. This is,
So the issue is coming from our commercial establishments, not the residential recycling?
let me double check and make sure that it does, yeah, that's my understanding, is it for the businesses, yeah.
Okay.
And it's elective.
Is our residential one a voluntary program as well, where they enter into an agreement and pay a fee, or is it?
No, the residential pickup is part of your taxes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's still voluntary? It's not a mandatory recycling? I probably should know that.
For resident, I thought it was, for lack of a better word, mandatory.
Okay.
I can look that up. Okay, wait a minute, 10.16. So, yeah, so this is adding 10.16.240. A, B, and C are the same, and then D and E. And then just, it tells you exactly, you know, how to put it out there, because it's been kind of a mess. And then to put it out 11 the night before, as we ask in, the previous section is on commercial establishments' private collection, and the same language, commercial solid waste shall not be set out for collection earlier than 11 p.m. So it's all for businesses, and it will get some pushback, maybe from, I did review it with Hollis, and what's Eric Evans, and they think it's an inconvenience to ask businesses to come in, you know, like restaurants don't start work till 5 p.m. This means that they have to get somebody to take in their recycle bins before they open. And what happens is, and this came up during one of the parades, I was actually standing there with Teresa, and she's like, I really like, what is all this trash on these sidewalks on Main Street, you know? And so we realized we had to do, then I realized I had to talk to planning and zoning about it. So we added this. The Eric Evans said if this doesn't work, he wanted to add it to the residents' collection. The commercial businesses have to do their own recycling, but there is a possibility. David Jarrell said he could write an amendment to the purchase order that they have now for residents to add the businesses to it. But it doesn't seem like he wants to do that. It would be a big deal to send out a procurement to, who's the company that does our pickup? Bates, yeah, right now they pick up all the residents. Commercial have their own, they have approved vendors for commercial. But Eric was saying that would be really cool if we could, you know, do that, but that probably won't happen for a couple of years.
So right now, there is no time that frame that the commercial establishment has for putting their recycling out. It
Right.
could be as early as 2 p.m., 1 p.m., and it's sitting there until it's collected.
It just stops at paragraph C, and then,
So now it's
and there
not
was really not
before
any
11.
stipulation. Yeah.
Do we know what time most of them close? Is that an inconvenience? Will they have
I don't
to
think it's putting
extend their
it-
hours?
Oh, I don't think it's putting it out. Putting it out, as you can see, it's out there at night. I think it's taking it back in. And that's a good
Is
question.
that?
I don't know if that's stipulated here, though, that they have to put it in.
It says may not set out for collection prior to 11 p.m. the
Yeah.
night before collection.
Yeah, so they can't put out at 3 in the afternoon, you know, something that needs to be picked up the next day. They have to wait.
So it doesn't say anything about removing the empty cans. It's
No, I
about
just
putting
noticed
out the
that,
full
yeah.
cans the night before, and it can't be before 11. So let's say the business closes at 9, then they would have to have an employee hold over or have someone put the cans out at 11 if they want to participate in recycling.
Yes, how it reads.
I wonder if our fiscal impact or staff report has any indication on what the average close time is for our businesses. It does not. Okay.
And again, it is voluntary. That's the thing. They're not forced to do this.
We don't want it to have a negative side effect
Right.
if we can
Yeah.
opt out. Do we know, what was the wisdom behind 11 o'clock?
I want to say to match what when I asked the question, John Messina said, and that's what I'm looking for now, he said is to match their private collection time which is commercial refuse. Commercial solid waste shall not be set out for collection earlier than 11 p.m. the night
Okay.
preceding a schedule. So, and what is, I'd like to know too what the logic is, but should we move commercial earlier than 11? Is it, I think, I bet the logic is, I'm not sure, is that all the restaurants stay open till midnight, sometimes till 2, so they probably don't want people walking over trash as late as possible, like keeping the sidewalks clear to a time that was agreed on. So this was put in to match that, which was already stipulated 11. Nobody's had a problem with the 11, but it is an interesting question, like why 11? And I'm imagining that might be why, that they don't want people, if people are still dining till midnight, they don't want their, because this, when they do put it out, it's a lot of stuff. Like, I don't know, like McGarvey's has got this whole place they store it and all that good stuff.
Would you are businesses like Starbucks or like things that have limited hours? I wonder what
There's flexibility. That's the other thing. They do put it out. I've seen it out. They close at 10. I see them put it out at 10. And I don't think they're walking around citing people. But I guess the logic is if we say 10, then they, maybe don't put it out till they put it out earlier than that.
I guess 11 kind of captures like some of our grab and go places like Chipotle and Mission Barbecue close at 9 and 10. So it still kind of captures when they're wrapping up. They close their doors at 9 and 10, but I guess the crew probably doesn't leave until about 11. So it's probably the very last thing you do is set the trash out. So that may still accommodate the businesses that close a little bit earlier, but then still work as well for the businesses that stay open later. But I'm assuming that the professionals who do this, that they have some method to the madness there that goes beyond my understanding. Okay.
Yep, just to keep the streets, sidewalks clear.
Oh, good. And this is citywide. It applies to all of our businesses, correct?
Yeah, it's
that
not just
participate.
the historic district or anything like that.
Okay. Good. Is there any more discussion?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. Is there a motion to recommend it favorably to the council?
Can I make that motion if I sponsored it? Yes. I make a motion that, a favorable motion to recommend this legislation to the city council.
I will second that motion. Been properly moved in second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. It will be recommended favorably to the council. Seeing no other business on the agenda, is there a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I motion that we adjourn.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
We shall adjourn.
Fred would have been proud.
Yeah.